I previously built this instrument that lets me record a sound and play it back by sliding my finger along a ribbon controller. While this is fun enough, I wanted to come up with an even more engaging way of performing this type of synthesis. Besides, my right hand did absolutely nothing. One idea I had was to take inspiration from a turntable. A vinyl record contains recorded sounds and plays them back as it spins on a motor. And you've probably seen DJs manually move the record with their hand to perform it like an instrument. What if I could build a spinning interface to control a sampler synthesizer? So the general idea is to build an instrument that can record external sounds, like from a synth. And I can play them back by manually spinning a disc. If I spin faster, the playback speed increases, which results in a higher pitch. It's like I'm changing the motor speed of a record player. And spinning counterclockwise results in reverse playback. I can perform by altering the speed and direction, so this rotating interface has potential to be very expressive. But how the heck do I measure something rotating? So I need some sort of electronics component that can measure rotational movement. Well, a potentiometer works by rotating a knob, but the issue is that I can't keep turning it once I reach either the maximum or minimum position. So I need something that I can rotate for all eternity. I noticed that I can continuously rotate this knob on my 3D printer without limits. I've been doing this for 5 hours and I still haven't reached the end. You might have encountered a similar interface in your car, like the volume knob. So this is the component that's inside an interface like that. It's called a rotary encoder. As you can see, I can keep rotating it. While it's kind of hard to show in a video, the encoder clicks as you rotate. And every time that click happens, the sensor outputs a pulse. But how would I get rotational speed from this? Well, I could either measure the time between each pulse or count the number of pulses every quarter second. This is looking really promising, so let's 3D print out a disc that I can slap onto the encoder. Okay, I attached the disc to the encoder and the sensor is hooked up to a microcontroller. So this is the brain of the project. The DAISY seed can read the encoder pulses and I can program it to calculate the rotational speed from that input. And the seed can also handle audio input and output, so I can program it to record the input sound and play that back as I spin the disc. First thing I want to do is to see what the encoder data looks like. By the way, I'm programming this project with plug data, and I go into more detail about the technical stuff on the blog if you're interested in building something similar. So this patch reads encoder data and display that on a serial monitor so that I can see it. After flashing that firmware to the seed, let's open up the serial monitor. Let me filter that out. Okay, that's less stressful to look at. Now when I twist the encoder, I see a value of +1 pop up, and then a 0. So that 1 is the pulse that I've been yapping about. And 0 is the output when it's not being twisted. When I rotate counterclockwise, I see a -1. So that's helpful to know since I want to know the direction of rotation too. And you know what? Let's spin fast. Okay, even just looking at the serial monitor, we can easily tell when I'm spinning fast by the sheer amount of ones. So the amount of pulses I'm generating corresponds to speed. So I think the pulses per quarter a second approach for measuring rotational speed seems promising. Okay, this patch counts the number of pulses every quarter second and outputs a value between 0.0 and 1.0 based on the total. So more pulses will result in a higher output value, and vice versa. Now that I got the speed, I can map that to the playback speed of a recorded sound. In order to record and output sound, I have audio jacks. And when I press this button, whatever audio I'm sending into the seed will be recorded. The LED lighting up will indicate that a sound is being recorded. Let's flash this patch that maps the playback speed to the rotational speed. Okay, let's record a synth and start spinning the disc. Yeah, it's super cool and fun to control sound by spinning a disc. That being said, I find it hard to imagine using this in the studio. I guess I want a more stable control over the pitch so that I don't constantly stray away from the key of a song I'm working on, for example. It'll be hard to find the speed at which the pitch matches the original and to also, maintain that motion. You know what? Let's revisit what inspired this project in the first place, the turntable. It works by moving through the recorded sound. The instrument that I have right now is just controlling the playback speed and is independent of where I am in the recording. So maybe I should move through a recorded sound. So this is actually similar to how the instrument I showed in the beginning works. I'm moving through a recorded sound's position with the ribbon sensor. And because I was using a synthesis technique called granular synthesis, the pitch is not affected by how fast or slow I move through the recording. So let's do something similar with the disc. I created a patch that allows me to move through the sample position as I spin. I recorded myself counting to 4, which will demonstrate this better. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now I'm getting somewhere. It's like I'm traveling and exploring through sound with an engaging motion. This feels way more fun for sure. And I can still add pitch control to this. At reasonable speeds, the pitch stays the same, but once I reach above a certain speed, the pitch will be affected by how fast I'm spinning. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now it's starting to feel like a really fun instrument that I can make music with. Alright, I think I'm ready to finally build this project. My right hand is all set with spinning the disc, but now my left hand is feeling abandoned, so let's include the ribbon sensor for changing the granular synth's grain size parameter. When this parameter is set low, the sound will be grainy and glitchy. 1. And when it's high, the sound will be more blurred out. 1. The horizontal interface of the ribbon controller makes sense for this parameter too. Okay, so this instrument will consist of the rotary encoder disc, ribbon sensor, audio jacks, the daisy seed, and a button with an LED inside it. And the components are going to be housed in a 3D printed enclosure. I made sure to include openings for the USB cable and audio jacks. I also designed and printed a top panel. To make the disc look more turntable-y, I added some grooves, which I really like the look of. Now it's time to solder. Well, look at that, he feels accomplished. But he's not done with that soldering iron just yet. In order to screw the top panel to the enclosure, I would need to use this... dang it. Here, I'll just show you a picture. I would need to use this heat set insert. It works by using a soldering iron to heat it up and melt the surrounding plastic. Once the temperature drops, the insert is locked in there. And now it's time to assemble. I am so happy with how this turned out. Making the disc look like a record was definitely the right choice. To wrap things up, I mapped the grain size and reverb amount to the ribbon sensor. Okay, let's see this instrument in action. When I press the button to record, the LED will turn on. For the first demo, I recorded a piano. I'm actually surprised with how much I like this instrument. The spinning gesture has this very meditative quality to it, so it's really suited for creating ambient music. I'm curious to see what would happen if I sample a sound that is a bit more aggressive. Here's what I recorded. So this instrument can go from immersive ambient to chaotic glitch. I can definitely imagine having this in the studio, so success! While I do prefer simple interfaces, I could definitely add more to this, so if you have any suggestions, let me know. By the way, thank you for all the cool suggestions in the previous video on the drum machine. If you're interested in building something similar, I have a blog tutorial for this instrument. And if you want to learn more about this magical granular synthesis that I mentioned throughout, check out this video right here. Thank you for watching, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.